right. We are live. Say hi to the cat. Yuki, say hi to the stream. Woo. Look how big she is now. Look at that. She's huge. All right. Saturday morning, folks. Let's go. I am super tired today. If you see why I'm looking up, I'm sitting today. I usually standing, so I'm looking at the monitor over there where my StreamYard is. Just making sure the mic's working and stuff. Thank you to Normandy Beach Party for the music. Appreciate it. Today is day 6, author, Workday, Saturday. Gonna do some social media posting, gonna do some Opus posting, gonna do some Royalroad posting, and then finish up with some numbers and then editing, rewrites and edits. Still rewriting and editing. Book comes out in 9 days. Doing another pass. Yeah, got time, might as well do it. And then after this book releases, Warrior Academy Redux on the 15th, we'll move right into book 2. Yeah, let's do it. 8:19, Saturday morning. Let's go. First things first, obligatory, who am I? I am Gabriel Rathwig, best-selling author, self-published, doing all the things myself. And yeah, this stream is for those who want to be a self-published author or have questions about writing a book or want to just whatever. This is my attempt at marketing my books without having to pay tons of money. I believe the future of advertising is oneself, and I'm marketing myself. Why? Because I got to do this work anyway. I have to do this stuff anyway, so why not stream it? People have questions, and then accountability, hold myself accountable, and yeah, that's it. Save a lot of money, make some money. Here we go. Let's make sure everything's going right. I like to go to Kick because it gives me a good. Let's turn this up. Yep, working. All right. Lets me know that things are working. Kick's the best. It's the first platform I started streaming on, and the most followers, 51. I mean, YouTube's got 80 something, but YouTube had like 50 something from years ago when I was attempting streaming back in like 2017. So anyway, thank you, Kick. You guys have really come through. All right, let's see. Let's post my books because that is the goal. Never feel bad about self-promotion because nobody else is going to do it for you. So there is a thing that I know a lot of people have a problem with self-promotion. They feel like, oh, I shouldn't be talking about my books. It's weird or bad. That is not the case. You have to be confident in your art, and you have to promote your art. Don't expect anybody else to do it for you. You know, if you're confident with your work, other people will be confident with your work, you know? So don't feel ashamed, you know? I say that because I used to be ashamed. People will be like, what do you do? And I'd be like, I write books. Oh, really? What do you write? And I'm like, oh, well, you probably never read it, blah, 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 you know, and always like self-deprecating and like, oh. But that's like the worst way to sell yourself. If you want people to read your stuff, be like excited about, hey, I write books and I'm a fucking great writer. You would love it. Here it is. This is what it's about. Check it out. Because you do. You did a lot of work to write this book. I did a lot of work to write these books. And you want to be proud of it. Be proud of it and tell people you're proud of it. Don't be ashamed. It's your work. All right, let's put some stuff up here. Man, I should wear my glasses. I can't see shit. Yep, first cuss word of the day. All right, let's see. Hedge Wizard. I might check this out. #1 bestseller. It's like 3,000. I saw ranked in 3,000. What's it at now? Yeah, 37. I might check it out. I don't know if I have time, but I might check it out. All right, so let's do Warrior Academy next. There we go. Clean links. Remember, clean links. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Good. That's in. All right, so let's see. So the A+ content has updated. If you were here yesterday, you saw it. We got Hero here. A little bit about him. Then we got 3 of the other guys. A little about them. 3 girls, about them. Boom, boom, boom. It's not ranked yet, but we'll see how it goes. You know, no sales yet. Well, a couple one pre-order, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see if people dig it. All right, let's check out. Today we're at 2 sales, 50K, or 11,000 page reads, 2 orders and $50 yesterday, 140, 12, 23. So that's like 33, 34, 14, 190, right in that 150 to 200. So yeah, we'll finish. Still on track. Still on track to make about 5, 6K. See how that goes. Pre-orders, we're still at 1. Nobody's buying the book yet. We'll see what happens. You know, it's we'll see. It's gonna be a interesting experiment because I've never re-released a book, but well, you know, I think it'll be all right. I get a little nervous, but all in all, I got really great readers, so at the bare minimum, the book will do okay. And I'm excited about it. As soon as I send it to Athon, they'll start working on the audio. That'll release probably right after Christmas, so that's good. How about a writing tip today? What did I do for a writing tip? Got a headache. Oh, I think I gave one. Don't be afraid to pimp your own stuff. Your book, whatever you wrote, tell people about it. Be excited about it. If you're not excited about it, don't expect anybody else to be excited about it. That's what I was saying. Your books are good. Be excited about your books. All right, let's do add a chapter. I think we were at 7 yesterday. Let's do 8 today. No, we are in the 30s. Okay, let's see. Chapter 3, track 8. Okay, so we'll do chapter 3 first. Let's see. All right, pop that here. Control V. Chapter 3. Boom. All right, and then title of chapter. Chapter 3. The arrival. Let's pop up Royalroad again. Let's do the precursor and the postcursor. Those aren't words. I mean, one is, but the other isn't. Let's just go into 7, and I'll grab the audio link. People want to read. So Warrior Academy, all my books have a playlist that you can listen to when you're reading the book. It's meant to be listened to at an average of a page read of on Microsoft Office, 1 page a minute. That's the speed. If you could do that, hey man, that's what's meant to be. I've noticed that not everybody reads the same pace, so hey, it is what it is. Pre-order link for the book. Control C. Control V. Dash. All right. Here's my other boy. Come here, buddy. Say hi. Oh, this is Wesley. Oh, he's my big guy. Say hi, buddy. Be my monster. He gets beat up by this kitten. Hi. Doing alright, pal? He used to be a little guy, too. We rescued him from the pound. He's a good boy. Alright. Go on down, pal. Or sit here, whatever. What do you want to do? Hi. Alright, let's post this. Alright. Alright. Chapter 3. Okay, let's go back. We'll add 8 and 9. Add chapter. Okay, let's go do this real quick. And we'll pop this one in too. And let's pick up track 8. Hi, cat. You sit on my lap? All right. He's a big boy. Okay. All right, let's publish that. Oh, track 8. Loser, Beck. Let's do another, and then author dashboard. Add a chapter. We'll do track 9. Oh, you getting down? All right, bud. Buddy. Track 9. 1. Go. Okay. All right. Okay, publish. Oh, yeah, let's put a title in there, right? Now. All right, so that's 3. So we just added 3. Let's go to dashboard. Let's look at the fiction page. So we just added chapter 3, 8, and 9. So what tomorrow? So I did 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 6, 7. Wait. Thursday, 5. Okay, so that was the day. Then we did 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with 3 and leave it there. Look at that. I just posted it and somebody already read it. It's crazy, right? People are hungry. So we'll leave this. That's done. That's done. Do some opus. Let's see, where are we? 3 a.m. So 5 a.m. on the. Oh, this one's already been done. This is an old one. Let's go back. Day 14. That's old. Yeah, we'll get that out of here. Let's go home. Already finished that one up. Yeah, let's remove from storage. It's expired. All right, That's done. 7-year-old. Have I done this one? Yep, this one's done. Back. Is this in storage? Nope. Okay, how about this one? I don't think I've done this one. Okay, let's see. Let's go to calendar. And we are on January 4th, 6 p.m., January 4th. 6 p.m., January 4th. 6 p.m., January 4th. 6 p.m. every 2 hours. Save. Schedule. Got it. Done. And let's go to calendar. And let's see. What did I miss? I missed one on the 9th. What did I miss? 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5, 5. Who cares? I think December 11th at 11 p.m. December 11th, I think, is where we're at. December 11th, 11 p.m., December 11th. December 11th, 11 p.m. Schedule. So now will be December 12th. Nope, December 12th, 1 a.m. Schedule. 3 a.m. So what I do is I do every off hour. So I do, well, it's not every off hour. I do 24 hours of clips. So every even hour is a YouTube short, and every off hour is a social media post clip on every other platform. So 13579 11, 13579 11. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, X, whatever else I missed. Something else. Let me see. So like here, yeah, so 5, so 2 Instagram accounts, 1 Facebook account, 1 TikTok, and 1 X. And these are all odd hours of the day posting shorts, so 1, 3, 5. And then YouTube is all even hours, 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 10. And that way, 24 hours a day, I have clips going. And now none of them have gone crazy viral, but, 400, 500 views, 1,000 views, 1,000 views, 1,000 views, so it's definitely helping. And we'll just see how it goes. I mean, I've only been doing it for a few months. So 5 a.m. on the 12th. 5 a.m. on the 12th. Next is 7 a.m. Then 9 a.m. Then 11. Let's see how bad this one is.
Moments later, the monk stood up and
why is it a 60?
Around us while stroking his beard. The situation is as follows. The entire planet has been taken by the nothing, except for this city, the elven capital of Nabashimashima.
Stupid. All right, I'm putting that up. Just fucking. Oh, what are we at? 20 minutes in, first F-bomb? Yeah, that was great. Okay, that's going in. I can't not do that. That's ridiculous. So we're on the 12th at 1 p.m. 12th at 1 p.m. Namashabashipa! All right, I love it. I fucking love it. Now that the bomb's been dropped, the F bombs are out now. Now we're about my ship. Let's see that again.
Shema. Or
Stupid. That's dumb. All right, so this is done. This is we just did this one. Yeah. C'est fini. All right. Next up on this, done. Is this in remove from storage? Yeah, I have to keep it low. We only got 20 gigabytes left, less than 20 gigabytes. So that's out. That's expiring. Here, this is new. What's this one? Working on a new book. That's a lot of clips. Let me see something. Well, I'll just schedule these all. That's a lot of scheduling. 1, 3, 6. So 6, 12, 18. 24, 30, 36. 42, 48. That's a lot of work. Whatever. Work it is. None of these are expiring anytime soon. 27, 27. Yeah. Yep. Just going to have to knock it out. Done. All right. So these here. I don't want to do it. All right. Finished talking about that. Gonna need some more coffee. Un momento. All right. Now that this is done, what else is there? I think nothing new here. Lisa's still okay. AC WinOH is accessory history lessons and the cliffhangers galore. It's all right. You do need to fix this. This spring 2026 is when 7 will come out, but it's all right. 27 to go to hit 5,000. If anybody remembers, that's the goal. I'm still sitting at about the same. Everything kind of very similar. It's only been a couple days. I'm really curious to see how this comes out. I think it's gonna do real well. All right. What else do we need to do? I guess just some rewrites and edits. What's this? Tracking paused. No, I don't need that. Let's see. Let's do some rewrites and edits and watch something on the YouTube while we do so. So what I'll do is I'll put whatever I'm going to watch up, and then I'll shrink this guy down while it's playing in the background, and hopefully the sound will stay. But I think, what page are we on? Well, if I go like that, and then like that, then like that. There we go. Boom. Here we go. I can also do that. I guess I could also put it on a different page. That'll be easier. So what I'll do is boom, boom. Let's see. Let's find something to watch. Aliens? Nah. What would be fun? Oh, you know what? Maybe we should listen to or watch something that's like, trying to think. What would be a fun background? How about some Kings and Generals movie? What's going on with Kings and Generals? What if we watch an anime? Can I put an anime on? I wonder if that'll work. Let's go to, let's go to Crunchyroll. You think Crunchyroll will work on this? We'll find out. Wait, let me move this over, and I don't want anybody to see my login. Login. Boom, boom. Password. Boom. Logging in. Good to go. All right. 7-day free trial. Am I not paying for this stuff? Oh, you know what might be easy? Let's listen to one of those manhwas on YouTube. Those are pretty good. I like this. Did I subscribe to this guy? One of these manga guys. Where is he at? Where is he at? We'll put that on while we edit. We're doing some editing today. We'll listen to bad AI manhwa, while we do it. That'll be fun. I got a half-hour work, so we'll do this about an hour, maybe hour. See how that goes. All right, now where were we? Where are we? Where's this dude at? Memoru. There it is. Memoru Manhwa. He's pretty good. His clips, his thumbnails are pretty intense, but I like his got like little kicks in there. Let's see what's trending. Genius boy creates biological weapon. She mocked him in class. It says I'm really far, but I only listened to like a little bit. I fell asleep a lot. I fall asleep a lot during these because they get kind of redundant, and kind of monotone. But this guy at least has like a little joke thrown in every once in a while to make it less assassin, hunters, $1, new Academy Genius. Let's do it by views. Popular. Gender roles reversed, and all the girls fight. Oh, I don't want to watch a hentai. Little henty hent. Oh, this is like right in my vein. I love these isekai military strategy reborn things. They're my favorite. They're my favorite. We might do this one, King of a Failing Empire. Oh, this one might be good. It's apocalypse. Everyone has powers, but only engineering. He comes number one. Is this? We might do this one. This might be the one. This might be good too. While everyone dies in the apocalypse, he trained in the basement his whole life. I like that. That's a fun one. All right, I think. Oh, this might be a good one too. How a genius trained villagers into a godly army. That might be a good one. What's the length on this? 239. Keep flirty what? Everyone awakens one talent. Oh, I have started to watch this one, Trapped in a 1,000-Year Time Loop. This one's pretty good, but I don't want to restart it for everybody. You know what? I won't. Is this it? Yeah, I think this is it. This one might be cool too. You can see the best choice to make in a popular. The thing about these thumbnails is they're not exactly accurate. All right, I think we'll do how a genius trained villagers into this 1.3 million views for a year. That's pretty solid. All right, we'll turn this up. Now, I'm going to remove this screen and put this over here because then I can pull this to my main screen. Hold on a second. Remove. Stop. There. Share. Entire screen over here. Add that. Boom. Add the stage. Fill it. Fill it up. Boom. And hit play.
There was a famous blacksmith who lived in the area. He owned his
sure the sound works.
Equipment that was all handmade. One day, he was fortunate enough to start selling everything he produced to the kingdom of.
All right, let me make sure the sound's working. I know people are like, what are you doing? I just gotta make sure the sound's working. Because it's just me, everybody.
Amidst an endless war, that was the perfect
All
opportunity for him.
All right, now, okay, and get rid of kick, and good to go. All right, let me press play. I got to go to the bathroom, get some coffee, and we're gonna watch anime and work.
With the end of the conflict, the same blacksmith.
Let's go.
And this man is the owner of these lands and the father of the young master Romain,
right back.
who is the protagonist of this story. We see an old man telling this story to a seated boy. Meanwhile, A mustached man standing behind them wonders why the boy is paying so much attention to something that everyone already knows. However, the story then takes us back a few hours. The young man asks if he is the eldest son of the Dmitri family, if they are in the kingdom of Kiro on the Salamander continent, and if the Murim world really doesn't exist. The mustached man affirms this while thinking that the young man has always been odd, but today he really seems out of his mind. Perhaps he's been using some of those strange drugs that have become popular among the rich these days. The mustached man then mentions that a young lady from the Lawrence family is coming to visit them. But as he says this, he reflects on how the young man has been wasting his life over the past 25 years. That's why he's known as the Dmitri family's trash. The man tries to explain the importance and values of the girl, but Dmitri interrupts him, saying there's something more important. He asks for the oldest person in these lands to be brought to him, someone much more important than this young lady, because he needs to learn how to live in this current world. The mustached man is confused as to why a 25-year-old would say something like that, but as a servant, all he can do is obey. The story then returns to the present. The old man says that's all he knows about these places. Dmitri thanks him and says he will give him a reward, but the old man simply responds that it was an honor to speak with the young master. Now Dmitri knows that everyone knows him as Roman Dmitri. However, his true name is Bak Jong-kuk. He's a person from the Murim world who lived a life of wars, conquered everything he wanted, and died in peace at the end. But for some strange reason, he woke up in this body. He doesn't know if this is the will of the heavens or a punishment for not accepting ascension. Suddenly, they hear a noise outside, and someone yells for a bastard. A boy gets kicked in the face while everyone watches. Surrounded by thugs in front of a small shop, he bleeds and can't respond, while the men keep calling him a filthy bastard and continue to beat him mercilessly. Dmitri's servant approaches to take a look, but is immediately shocked. He recognizes that red fang tattoo all too well. Beside him, someone asks what's going on. Dmitri orders him to answer quickly. The servant explains that these are the Blood Fangs, a group known not only in Dmitri's territory but also in the nearby regions. It seems the boy on the ground owes them something. The servant tries to tell Dmitri not to get involved because it will only cause trouble. However, the young man has already disappeared from his side and orders the thugs to stop. As Dmitri calmly approaches, the servant desperately tells him not to do anything, but Dmitri continues to walk forward. A bald man appears, recognizes Dmitri, and laughs in his face, warning him to stay out of it and not to think he has any authority just because he's of noble birth. Everyone says it's better if he doesn't interfere because it's none of his business. The servant continues to insist that they won't gain anything by going against the Blood Fangs. But Dmitri simply calls for Hans. He doesn't know the rules of this place, so he wants an explanation. Who make the rules of this land and who should be punished? Hans hesitates for a moment, swallowing hard with fear before speaking. He says that if the boy really is in debt and didn't pay, he is guilty. However, the Blood Fangs don't have permission to punish someone like this. Worse still, they disrespected the eldest son of the Dmitri family, which in itself is a crime punishable by death. According to the rules of this place, it wouldn't be strange if they were executed for this. The thugs just stare, while Hans wonders if he should have said that. Dmitri then asks if they heard the explanation. He picks up a stick from the ground and declares that as the eldest son of the Dmitri family, he will have to punish them all. The bald man tries to explain that Dmitri is a noble and doesn't understand how the world works. He tells him to look at their shoulder tattoos and warns that if he continues acting like this, everyone will be in a difficult situation. Dmitri only says that this proves what he wanted to know. The bald man, now confident, asks what Dmitri is talking about. The young man explains that from what he can tell, they are nothing but trash since they speak this way about the lord of this land. He advances, saying that he doesn't care about the reputation they have in this place. The thugs are taken aback because they didn't expect the boy to actually attack like that. But now he will have to defend the honor of the Blood Fangs, and he slashes at Dmitri's neck. However, he immediately feels something strange. Dmitri had already plunged that branch into him. Without hesitation, Dmitri pulls it out and turns toward the other two thugs, but they only curse him, calling him a bastard and vowing to take revenge for their leader. Hans warns Dmitri to be careful, pointing out that the thugs are far better armed than he is. Yet Dmitri easily dodges their attack. He lands a swift kick to one thug's shin and follows it up with a punch to the face. The servant is bewildered. He had no idea that the young master could fight like this. To him, it doesn't even make sense that this could be the same Master Roman. The first thing Beck saw when he opened his eyes was a farewell letter on the floor and scattered drugs. The kingdom of Kiro, always at war, had to choose a representative from each of its noble houses to serve in the army. Roman was chosen to be his family's representative. However, he chose to take his own life instead. Beck reflects that it was a pathetic life, regardless of what Roman went through.
It's like a classic
The current owner of this body is the
isekai
leader
trope.
of the celestial demon sect, and now he will live as he pleases. And boy, with just a stick, he painted the entire town red. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to censor this part because the boy is just too cruel. Behind him, someone calls him a monster. One of the last remaining Blood Fangs tries to flee, but Dmitri grabs him by the hair, slams him to the ground, and declares that the law must be obeyed. He warns that this last one will be allowed to live as a warning of what happens when the law is disobeyed. He gathers everyone in the town and declares that his name is Roman Dmitri. If anyone disagrees with the punishment he has dealt to these people, they can come find him at any time. Back Jong Hyuk. He reached the pinnacle of the Mirim world with incomparable strength. Hundreds of thousands of martial artists were defeated and massacred by him. When the blood of his enemies formed a river, everyone recognized that the celestial demon sect controlled the Mirim world. But now in this moment, he has to exert himself just to deal with street rats. He calls for Hans and instructs him to notify the guards about everything that happened and to have someone clean up the place. The servant simply replies that he will do it immediately and runs off. Dmitri reflects on how weak and useless this body he inhabits is. He needs to accelerate his efforts to gather information on how to strengthen himself. Just then, the boy he had saved earlier gets up and thanks him for saving his life. Dmitri remembers that this was the boy who was being beaten, but tells him that what he did was not intended to help him. The Bloodfangs broke the law and were punished, and that's all. Now the boy will have to explain his situation if he wants to keep his tongue. The poor boy, having just tried to express his gratitude, receives a threat instead. However, he says he will explain. His relatives borrowed money from the Bloodfangs to complete the purchase of some land and start farming. They would have easily been able to repay the amount they borrowed by selling their crops. But the damn Bloodfangs went to the land and destroyed all the crops so that they couldn't pay back the debt. Only later did the boy discover that they did this to blackmail his family and take his younger sister. The boy screams that the world isn't fair because even though they didn't have much, they never harmed anyone. The only thing he begs for is for Dmitri to save his sister. But Beck just observes the boy's eyes. That look reminds him of the Mad Demon, one of the 4 superior kings and someone he also met in a place as wretched as this. He then asks the boy his name, to which he replies, Kevin. With that, Roman says he will look into the situation and take care of everything. The boy shouts his thanks, while Dmitri senses that he will have a long relationship with this boy. The scene shifts to a carriage approaching. Someone inside informs Miss Flora that they are nearing the Dmitri estate. The blonde sighs, saying she understands. It seems she will have to meet this Roman Dmitri.
I've seen this before.
Shouted in a castle, demanding to know why there is an arranged marriage with the Dmitri family. Her father tries to remind her that their lands have been in terrible condition due to the ongoing...
Yeah, I've watched that one before. That's out. Let's try this again. Let me see. Let's switch to... Sorry, folks. You can watch it on your own. That was boring to me because I've seen it. Let's try this military strategist, king of failing empire.
The protagonist begins by saying it was a boring life. He was born into a regular family and lived regular days. Most days were dull. The protagonist begins by saying it was a boring life. He was born into a regular family and lived regular days. Most days were dull. He believed he would die without anything special ever happening. However, that wasn't the case. One of the protagonist's eyes glows as he says everything changed. On the screen is a blonde character, and he says he found a game called Heroes of Destiny, and that's how he became the owner of the world. However, now back in his apartment, he's really happy because he's finally alone. It's not that he likes or dislikes school. He turns on his PC and says it's just that when he's playing, that alone is enough to make him happy. In this place, he's the protagonist. He always preferred single-player games because you can play countless routes countless times. You can even use some hacks and surpass all the system's limits. It was like the entire world there existed solely for one player. However, with a sheepish expression, he says that's what he thought, but now it's time to start over. He turns on the live stream and someone asks if he's really streaming in the middle of the week. The whole chat starts mocking the guy, asking if he's some kind of bum who doesn't go to school and just stays on the PC, until someone named AGJ sends a donation of 10. Even though it wasn't much, he was happy since something is better than nothing. Then someone named DEA sends 1,000. Now he's confused. He grabs the monitor and everyone in the chat wants to know who this crazy person is. They're saying they're sure this guy will ask for a refund. But the person just asks him to check his email. When he opens the inbox, it's a message from the game's creator. He says he's a viewer who always watches the channel and is also a developer. He made a game some time ago that was so hard that nobody managed to finish it during the closed beta. And he wanted our guy to play this game to check its difficulty and approve whether he liked it or not. The protagonist got intrigued by this claim that no one could finish it. And what if he managed to complete it? Even a regular guy like him could become someone special. A window on the PC asks if he wants to install the game, and he immediately says yes.
This looks interesting.
A game called Heroes of Destiny begins. The message says the kingdom of Roke was destroyed by the kingdom of Japal in 294. He would be born as an insignificant soul in this place and become a hero to stop the resurrection of the demon king. And when he ascended to the god's throne, he'd be granted any wish he desired. Over an ocean, he says the graphics are much worse than he imagined. But considering it's a game developed by a single person, this is the limit of what can be done. He then writes his name, which would be Master of the Game. And with that, a welcome message to the continent of Ellen appears. He then finds himself lost in the middle of a forest. The game seemed pretty ordinary and weird because it didn't even have a tutorial, but he was fine with that. That's when he noticed something ahead. It was the village chief, who says he's not a familiar face and asks what he wants there. However, the protagonist found it strange because there was no dialogue box. Seeing there was a box to type in, he wondered if the NPC could really understand what he was saying. He then tells the old man to hand over all the money or he'll kill everyone in the village. He waits anxiously to see how the man will respond, only for the old man to whack him on the head, asking what nonsense the boy is spouting. With that, his character falls to the ground and obviously, he dies. He was confused, trying to figure out if he could really talk to the characters. The game asks if he wants to try again, and he says of course he won't give up like that. This time, the old man asks the same question. But now he says he's in need of food and drink and asks for help. The old man, feeling sorry for him, leads him to the village and tells him to follow. He then enters the man's house, who gives him a mug, telling him to drink it to calm down first. The protagonist thanks him and drinks it, only to be poisoned and die in the chair. He then gets an idea and unplugs the internet cable from his PC. Without the internet, there'd be no way for the game's creator to control these NPCs. However, when he goes to talk to the old man, everything is bugged and strange. And in the next second, a message appears saying he was killed for speaking nonsense. At that moment, he realizes that disconnecting the internet isn't the secret to winning this. He then remembers that the name of the person who developed this game was DEA, but he has no idea if this is really a person or the name of the team behind it. It was already 1:30 a.m., and he decided to save since that was enough for one day. However, he was impressed that there was a game where you could talk to NPCs. It was almost like this world of heroes really existed. Now it made sense why no one managed to beat it during the beta test. He opens his eyes before going to sleep, thinking that he was really getting excited. From that day on, driven by the desire to be special, he was absorbed into that game. As he progressed, he lost track of time. He was completely immersed, and this continued for 10 years. Wow, the guy is motivated, huh? 10 years playing the same thing. In an office, someone calls for Oshiro-san. Turns out it's his coworker. She says she's already sent the files he asked for, and the guy thanks her. Some time passes, and she congratulates him for finishing everything. Our boy thanks her as well and helps while she stands there, a bit embarrassed, not knowing what to say. She then asks him why they don't go out for a little dinner, just the two of them, before heading home, and maybe have a second dinner after they get home. Her face clearly shows what she's hoping for. However, our Oshiro-san apologizes, saying he has to go home. The poor girl is left stunned. He says there's something much more important he has to do and waves goodbye. It seems she's disappointed again, having been rejected once more. She's been getting turned down for quite some time. I'll let it slide this time because today is the day he's finally finishing the game after 10 years, right? So, let's see. Apparently, the night turned into morning. He is congratulated for being the first human to enter the ranks of the gods, and for being registered in the Hall of Honor. Our guy is standing there, all happy that he finally managed to finish it. But his smile quickly changes expression. After so long, he managed to do what he always wanted, to become in some way special. But on the other hand, his life was more ordinary than ever. Wouldn't it have been much more extraordinary to be with his coworker? Huh, you idiot. At least in the game, he felt like he had lived something entirely different. He remembers the characters like the Black Prince, Gail Krakow, Cardinal Cesar Libaro, and the Witch Celestina Urin. All the characters were full of charm and unique personalities. The reactions there were so lifelike that he felt those people existed somewhere else. But now, rubbing his eyes, he knows it's all over, until he hears a sound. Looking at the screen, he sees a message asking if he wants to start a new adventure. But this is a very honest message, warning him that if he presses yes, he'll be teleported to the continent of Ellen. And after selecting it, he wouldn't return.
I always find it so funny,
Oshiro
the
wonders if there's some kind
names
secret
of
stage.
shit that
However, with his mouse,
they
it
use.
looks more like a brick. He says he's eager to go through it all
The
again.
continent
And now he's
of
come this far, he has
Ellen.
no choice but to move forward. Of course, he's transported to the continent of Ellen. At least, unlike other protagonists, he was 100% warned. A strange voice welcomes the master of the game. Slowly, he opens his eyes, wondering why his chest hurts so much. He couldn't breathe properly and had no idea what room he was in, until someone next to him says he's finally awake. It's an old man with a mustache who says it's thanks to the high-tier potion he had reserved. The boy starts to open his eyes, and the man calls him Kalix-sama. But our confused protagonist asks who the mustachioed man is, leaving him unsure of what to say. As far as he remembers, the healer didn't mention this potion causing amnesia. However, the protagonist has a desolate look, clearly confused. The man then says he'll introduce himself again and states his name is Russell. The protagonist quickly notices the man isn't speaking Japanese, but he can understand everything he's saying. But the worst part is that he's still feeling the same chest pain since he woke up. Russell apologizes, saying it's his fault for rushing him. The chest pain was a side effect of the potion he gave him, but it would pass soon enough. He then says the boy will feel much better shortly, so he'll take his leave for now. With that, the door closes while our boy is left standing there confused. Some time passes and the candle goes out. He opens his eyes again and rises from the bed. Going to the mirror, it's just as he thought. His body feels entirely different, and it's obvious he's in a different body. A body he has no idea who it belongs to. He can remember the 30 years he lived, but he can't even figure out his name in this moment. Looking at himself in the mirror, he wonders who in this world this person is. That's when the famous system window appears. Player name, Calix Shikin, a noble with no profession, completely battered and broken. Level 8 with a reputation of 3 stars and 14% approval. Additionally, he possesses the governing skills of finance, development, and military. What Calix notices is that this screen looks very similar to the game system's interface. Now the whole being sent to the continent thing really made sense. He was in the main stage of the entire game, the famous continent of Ellen. He puts his hand on his chest and says he needs to calm down first. He then feels something strange. He beats his chest again and collapses on the floor in pain. This body of his was a wreck, and he had no idea why, but at least it was clear this wasn't just a dream. First, he'd have to get used to being called Calix Shikin. He goes to the bed and keeps repeating to himself over and over that he is this Calix guy. As soon as he thinks about the window, it appears again. He's certain this must be the kind of thing only he can see. At this moment, he's 15 years old, and he decides now is the perfect time to gather information. After all, if he lets his guard down in this world, he'll be killed. He checks the system and sees he belongs to the county of Shikin. If the name of the place and his last name are the same, that means he's the direct heir of this land's ruling family. At least he was lucky in that regard. That's when someone knocks on the door, startling him as he wonders who it could be. He doesn't know how to react or what would be the normal way for Calix to respond. He keeps repeating to himself that he is Calix while saying nothing. Then we see that it's a girl outside. She brought a big steaming cup of tea, saying it's the boy's medicine. Realizing she's a maid, he decides to act with some dignity and tells her to come in. The girl steps into the room, asking for permission. Calix watches her closely as she walks in, kneels, and offers the medicine. What kind of medicine is this? She just walked in and I don't see any medicine there, huh? Now I see it. She's saying it's nice and warm and that he should give it a try. Our boy, who clearly needs a gym membership because he looks malnourished, asks who she is. But then he realizes that asking this will make it obvious he's not in his right mind. The girl looks confused and asks if he's feeling unwell. That's when a system window pops up in his head and he says no. The system shows that her name is Layla. She's 23 years old, has a reputation of -3, and a very low approval rating. However, he notices something odd in the system. She's affiliated with the Viscount of the Hoshuran territory. Considering they're in the county of Shikin, why is that listed in the system? Moreover, there's something even stranger. She has an unusually high combat capability, way too high for a simple maid. For someone who's played the game, he knows these are definitely not the stats of an ordinary servant. She's standing there staring at him, clearly waiting for him to drink. But looking at the tea, he's already made up his mind. No way he's drinking this thing from someone working for another house. Layla asks if he's alright and insists he drink the tea, but Calix just tells her to leave it there and go. She starts smiling brightly, insisting he drink it right now. Calix grabs her hand angrily, suspecting she's about to force him somehow. But as soon as it's in his hand, he fakes a cough and spills it to the side. As the cup falls, he thinks that's enough. Once all the liquid is spilled, he won't have to drink it. But then Layla, in a display of Spider-Man level reflexes, catches the cup mid-air, ensuring not a drop is wasted. Seeing her pull off the classic Peter Parker move, he has no idea what to do. He takes the cup back slowly while wondering what kind of reflexes she has. It would be bad if their eyes met, as she might realize he did it on purpose. As she stands up, he lowers his head and looks away. She places the tea on the desk, saying his medicine is safe. Meanwhile, he's lying in bed, avoiding eye contact with her. He knows there's poison in there, and no way is he drinking it. He closes his eyes, thinking he has to do something about this situation. Just as he's about to pass out, she hugs him. She asks if he's okay, and Calix wonders that he managed to dodge the situation for now. Looking at the system, he wants to know more about the house Layla belongs to. First, he sees in his status that he's the son of the Count's first wife, who's already passed away. He wonders if there might be some half-siblings from the second wife. He discovers there's one older than him at 16 years old. That's when he sees in the system that the new wife's name also ends with Hoshuran. He immediately connects the dots and realizes this woman must have sent Layla. If Calix, the son of the first wife, dies, the woman's son will inherit the title of Count. Strangely, the lunatic is breaking out in a cold sweat while feeling excited. As always, the game Heroes of Destiny starts off hard. He then tells Layla he's feeling much better now and thanks her. But he asks how the stepmother is doing. Layla looks surprised and says the Countess is very upset about the boy trying to take his own life. She pleads with him never to do something like that again. That's when Calix understands why this boy was bedridden and in such bad shape. Judging by the pain in his chest, this guy must have tried to end his own life. He says he won't do such things anymore, and Layla replies that the Countess will surely be happy to hear that. He thanks her again and asks her to leave. But her expression changes and she says he still hasn't taken his medicine. Now he's scared. It seems the damn girl won't leave until he drinks it. The problem is, she's there to kill him, and if he refuses, she might simply assassinate him outright. Even though he knows the game, at this moment he's just a fragile teenager. He could try yelling for help. What if she cuts him down before anyone arrives? He would definitely die before that happens. She's already turning back to him, and he realizes he might not have a choice but to drink it. But then he asks himself the obvious question. Why is she poisoning him instead of just stabbing him and running away? If that's her plan, clearly she can't draw attention to herself. That poison is a way to make it look like he took his own life. It's the same poison that Farmer gave him 10 years ago, and Layla says that if he's having trouble drinking it, she can help. But there's something Calix learned while playing this game. The worst will always happen, so it's best to be prepared. He's certain that even if he refuses, she'll force his mouth open and pour it in. The madman is blushing, saying this makes him really excited. Indeed, the game Heroes of Destiny never disappoints. Layla sits down and offers the tea once more. Suddenly, he grabs the poisoned tea and drinks it all. Layla simply watches as the effects of the poison finally kick in. As he expected, this was bound to happen. Now the question is, how will he get out of this crisis? There must be a person or an object to resolve this situation. That's when he remembers Russell mentioning having some high-tier potions in stock. He comes up with an idea and tells Layla to step outside and call for Russell. She asks why, and he humiliates her, asking if he really has to explain himself to a mere servant. The girl is shocked and quickly apologizes. When he shouts and orders her to leave and fetch Russell, she rushes out. Calix knows that the potion Russell used earlier could be traded for a castle, yet the man didn't hesitate to use it on him. At the very least, he seems like someone who isn't trying to kill him. As soon as Layla leaves the room, he gets up and tries to vomit, but no matter how hard he tries, nothing happens. The game wasn't going to make things that easy. One thing was clear. There was always a solution to every problem. He begins searching through all the drawers, desperately looking for an answer, but the system warns that his eyelids are growing heavy. As his consciousness fades, he continues searching, tossing books and rummaging for a solution, until his eyes grow heavier and he collapses to the floor. He wonders if he'll restart the game from the beginning or truly die for real. That's when he sees something. Right in the middle of the shelves, there's a potion. His expression changes upon spotting it. He starts crawling, finally grabbing the bottle. But upon opening it and taking a sniff, it's not what he expected. It reeks terribly like rotten milk. And that's exactly what it is: spoiled goat milk. He remembers that in the game, yogurt was the antidote for this poison. But can spoiled milk really be considered yogurt? The system once again warns him that his vision is fading. He knows that after the third alert, he'll have only 1 minute left. He brings the drink to his mouth, vowing to get even with Layla, and then he drinks it before losing consciousness again. Sometime later, he wakes up with Russell asking if he's alright. As Calix opens his eyes, he has no idea if it's deja vu or if the game reset. But Russell doesn't understand what he's talking about and points out something more pressing. He wants to know why the room is such a mess and why the boy was sleeping on the floor when he came in. Calix realizes the game didn't reset, he managed to survive. But that near-death experience is something he never wants to go through again. No matter what happens, he is determined to live. Now that this is settled, he needs to check the status of this man. He observes Russell and the system window appears. At the moment, Russell is the acting count of this land because the previous count died and hadn't chosen an heir yet. Even though it's a temporary position, it's something that could help him. The man seems like a strict military type, so Calix believes he can be trusted. At least he was the one who saved him with that potion. Calix calls out to Russell, saying he has something to share. They talk for a while, and it seems Calix tells him everything about what's happening. But Russell says there's no evidence. Calix learns that the potion Russell used was standard protocol in this family. It was just following normal orders. Russell explains that to him, all heirs of the Sheikhan family are equal, and he is obliged to serve both sides. Calix then asks if Russell wants him to keep taking that medicine until he dies so everyone can claim the inheritance. But Russell questions if Calix really lost his memory. You should know that the Sheikhan family is in serious financial trouble. In fact, it's a blessing that the Dalila family is helping them. He asks if the boy truly doesn't remember this or is just pretending. Calix realizes Russell won't act without concrete proof. At least he figures the woman who poisoned him must believe he's dead. He tells Russell to let it go, saying it's fine. However, he has a simple request. Russell notices something different in the boy's demeanor. 4 hours later at Sheikhan Castle, someone moves across the rooftops. The figure stops atop one of the buildings, adjusting their face covering. The person observes the knights below. It appears to be Layla, who notices that security has been significantly increased. She glances at the wall, spots a tunnel, and in the next scene, she's inside the castle. Approaching a door, she sees there are no guards outside the room. She opens it, and inside, she sees a body covered with a sheet. Still, she's not entirely sure if Calix is dead. At least she used a special poison, so he must have died painlessly. She takes a letter from her pocket and places it on the desk. She retrieves his seal from a drawer and stamps the letter. With everything in place, she only needs to leave safely. But suddenly, someone comes up behind her and places a sword to her neck. She instantly recognizes the voice, but the person says nothing, and she can only fear the blade slitting her throat. She pleads with him to wait and screams, claiming it's too late. Lord Calix is already dead, and now the Sheikhan family can only belong to the Grumbine family. Of course, it's Russell standing behind her, observing everything. She falls silent for a moment. Then she asks if he shouldn't just be a simple noble serving the Sheikhan family. But that's when the boy stands up and says it all went exactly as he expected. The foolish girl is startled, isn't she? Our guy says that the slow death poison is quite stimulating, but he finds it interesting how one noble family is trying to poison another. He's certain that if this came to light, it would turn into a complete mess. Suddenly, Layla crouches and pulls her arm out of Russell's grip. But as soon as she tries to turn away, he grabs her arm again. With a swift turn and a strike to the ribs, she stumbles, revealing her thighs. Calix knows that the difference between their skill levels is 3 stages. Clearly, she stands no chance. But Layla insists, and he has no physical evidence, so no one will believe him. However, Calix calmly replies that attempting to assassinate a noble is punishable by death, even if the assailant is a noble themselves. And his evidence is clearly right there on the desk. When it comes to witnesses, he points at her, saying there's one standing right in front of him. Suddenly, her expression changes and the poor girl begins to faint. She collapses to the floor, leaving him unsure of what just happened. Russell explains that she fainted. He places his hand over her body and observes a strange orb of mana. Our boy recognizes it as what's known as a mana hole. Russell explains that she likely doesn't know how to use any mana breathing techniques. She's probably at the level of an elite soldier with good training. Russell, however, notices something odd. Calix doesn't seem impressed by this information, suggesting he already knew about it. He recalls the boy mentioning he had a simple request. Now Russell wants to know how much this kid already knows. Calix says that for now they need to imprison her because they have many favors to ask. Later, the devilish maid is tied to a chair. Her arm looks like it has a Pokeball inside it as he tosses a potion at her. Our girl even wipes her face clean. When she wakes up, she finds herself tied to the chair. Calix immediately mentions the slow death poison. Obviously, it kills within 3 to 6 hours. It's the ideal potion for anyone looking to end their own life. He speculates that if he died like that, everyone would think it was by his own choice. He grabs her face and asks why she did it. She feigns ignorance, pretending not to understand what he's talking about. But Calix says he's sure she was afraid of dying, which is why she acted the way she did. This means she doesn't have enough loyalty to lay down her life for Lady Stella. But the girl remains silent. He tells Russell to make her talk. Russell pries her mouth open and sees something in Calix's hand, wondering what it is. But Calix just tosses it into her mouth, and she immediately smells something strange. It's probably that same goat milk again, and he orders Russell to make her drink it. She screams in the chair, trying to break free, but it's no use. When Russell lets go, she screams, asking what they made her drink. Calix casually says it was just a little bit of poison. Then he asks if she's familiar with
Just a little
something
bit of
called
poison.
Seta's puppet. Terrified, she claims it's impossible, saying there's no way a noble from a family like his could get such a thing. But Calix says that with enough money, you can do whatever you want. To prove it, he mentions that the primary ingredient for the recipe is white radish. Russell seems impressed while Calix just waits for her reaction. Layla insists she doesn't believe him, but the protagonist is certain she's scared out of her mind. She then says she'll leave for now, report to her master, and say the assassination was a success. She questions whether he really thinks she'll follow his orders, but Calix simply asks if she's ready to die. Hasida's puppet poison has over 3,000 different antidotes depending on the formula, and the correct one for what she drank is stored in his mind. So if she doesn't want to die a stupid death, she better listen to him. The girl is breathing heavily, clearly shaken, but he demands her answer. After hesitating for a moment, she shouts that it's fine and asks to be untied. But Calix remarks that she seems awfully angry at the person who's saving her life. She's trembling, almost crying in the chair, begging to be released. Russell finds it strange that she suddenly decided to comply, and there she is, pleading for mercy. Calix knows it's just the spoiled goat milk wreaking havoc in her stomach. She pleads with Russell to untie her, but Russell hesitates, questioning whether Calix has forgotten that she tried to kill him. The boy responds that she's a very valuable witness, and they'll need to treat her with a bit of dignity. Russell has no idea what he's talking about. Meanwhile, she keeps begging to be released. She's on the verge of tears, seemingly about to explode, pleading for freedom. Time passes. She eventually announces that she's leaving to report that the assassination was successful. She leaves the room. Now Calix knows he'll have to deal with someone else who can control all the knights. That person is standing right beside him. Russell then demands to know how Calix obtained all this knowledge. The fool is about to say he learned everything from books, but realizes Russell wouldn't believe that. Russell warns him that explaining such things through a book would be akin to signing a death sentence. Now Calix is unsure what to say. No one will believe him if he claims he's from another world. He then asks Russell if he remembers the dagger he plunged into his own chest. Russell says he does, but wants to know why he's bringing it up. Our boy explains that the dagger is actually an heirloom passed down from his mother. She claimed it possessed mysterious powers, and it seems those powers have now awakened within him. Russell doesn't look convinced, but Calix says he never imagined the secret to gaining such knowledge was to strike his own heart. The butler insists that if it were such a rare item, everyone would know about it. Calix thinks for a moment and asks if he's heard of the dagger of Claire. Apparently Russell has, as he asks if the previous lady's dagger really was that artifact. If it was indeed that treasure, it could explain Calix's vast knowledge. However, Russell says there's one issue. He wants to know if anyone else knows about this. Calix assures him that no one does. He's the first. He then asks Russell what he thought about Layla's story, specifically the idea that all of Count Claire's movements, his father's movements, had been leaked. A knight like his father, who was on the verge of advancing in rank, shouldn't have died to a mere monster attack. It's ridiculous to believe such a story. Russell immediately realizes Calix is seeking his help. But in the political games of succession, Russell has no intention of getting involved. However, if the Count's death truly was premeditated, that changes everything. Yet gripping his sword, Russell debates internally. As a soldier, he doesn't want to get entangled in politics. This principle has guided him for 50 years. Just as he's about to express this to Calix, the boy suddenly shouts, demanding to know why his father had to die. All he wants is to understand why his father was murdered and who was behind it, obviously, so he can start planning his revenge. He asked Russell if he isn't curious too. Whoever it was, they already know was someone who stood to benefit from his death, but they can't give up just because the situation seems difficult. He pauses for a moment and asks if it's truly right for a knight to serve a family that orchestrated an assassination. Russell freezes for a moment. Then he kneels and swears loyalty to Calix. Our boy is thrilled, but hears Russell add one caveat. By doing this, he is abandoning the beliefs he held for 50 years, never to involve himself in politics. But Calix is just happy to gain someone so powerful as an ally, especially one invested in the vengeance he seeks. He tells Russell to rise, saying he doesn't need to swear loyalty to someone who doesn't even hold a title. But Russell reassures him, saying he'll ensure the boy grows strong. Our guy quickly changes the subject, not wanting this conversation to lead to Russell suggesting training him. He then says that now that they know about the Countess poisoning attempt, everything is falling into place. They're only at the beginning of their revenge. Russell asks how he can assist. Calix is about to reply when the scene changes. A group of people is gathered around an enormous table. A blonde woman with a fan comments that everyone is finally present. Some people whisper, questioning why the Countess is sitting on the throne. The Countess speaks up, saying that some of them must already know what happened yesterday with Prince Calix. He attempted to end his life using a poison known as slow death. One of the older men says it's the typical choice for those looking to take their own life, and if he consumed it, death was inevitable. Everyone is aware that with Calix's death, the faction he represented has become irrelevant. The Countess is overjoyed by Calix's apparent demise. Now it's certain that Grumbine will assume the Count's seat. This is exactly the question everyone in the room is asking. Some suggest that the Countess take charge temporarily. Meanwhile, in the next room, a boy is getting ready, remarking how things are becoming quite interesting. He calls out to Russell, who declares he'll follow him to the end. Our boy is fully armored, ready for battle. It seems Grumbine is just some chubby kid, likely the son of that scheming woman. Everyone is smiling until someone kicks the door open. Who steps in? Everyone. By their shocked faces, you already know. It's Calix with Russell right behind him.
All right, I got a headache.
Utterly confused, unable.
I think I'm going to call this one. I got a bad headache. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. We'll start again tomorrow. What are we at? 24 minutes in. And I'll be back. More editing, more writing, more whatever. That. And, yeah, I think that's it. We do with what? An hour and 3 minutes? Yeah, I got a mad headache. Okay. Take care. Blah, blah, blah. See you tomorrow. Ending stream. Enjoy your Saturday. Peace.